Good evening. So today we are going to talk about an asset register. In an asset register, it's a collection of all fixed assets in a business, or it's simply a detailed record of all company owned fixed assets. So whenever a company purchases a fixed asset, it usually records it in an asset register. So this simply helps to keep track and accountability of all assets in the business. So after that, we are having why the business should do so. Like why the business, when it gets an asset, records it in QuickBooks. So firstly, it keeps accurate asset records for accounting and audits. Remember, a business, it undergoes auditing. So it's like evaluating the performance of the business. So, and usually the performance of the business, they usually based on the assets, the business that it's owning. So it tracks asset value. Of course, it simplifies depreciation and helps management make informed financial decisions. I remember for a company, it usually performs or it usually makes decisions basing on the assets that are being owned by the business. So we are having it's like a guidelines or the path or the route as you're creating a fixed asset using QuickBooks. So you go to your list, fixed item list, then when you're there, they give you the interface that you're going to fill in, that it's having these fields that you're going to fill in to create a fixed asset. Then we also, so that's that's the format. Then here, in case you want to view the details after you creating a fixed asset, you can just double tap on that particular item that you've created. So here we are having, now here with the under reports, it's like when you want to view all the fixed assets that you're owning in the business. So you're going to go to your report, then you're going to go to reports, fixed asset manager reports, asset listings, then they will be listed there. Then it should also be noticed that since we are dealing with the fixed assets, there is also a link to depreciation because all know that depreciation, it works on fixed assets apart from land. So after here, we are going to go to the practical bit of creating a fixed asset. So this is our home page of the QuickBooks. So as we saw in our theory that you go to list, then we are having this part of the fixed asset item list. Then here, so these are the few fixed assets I had created. So you go to your item, then new, or you can use a shortcut of Control N as indicated here. Then they give you this interface. So they start with the asset name or number. So here I'm going to create, let me say, a fixed asset of motor vehicle. So let me say, we bought a motor vehicle. So after purchasing a motor vehicle, then we are having now a corresponding account. So for fixed assets, we usually create them an account or a separate account for them. This usually helps us when we are carrying out depreciation or for easy monitoring or whenever we are recording our transactions. For example, if you're carrying out depreciation on a motor vehicle, you usually keep track of the changes or of the loss in value under this account. Or in case you're selling off the motor vehicle that we had purchased earlier on, usually the account created is one that is being affected. So if you can cross check here, we don't have the motor vehicle account. So you can either use the furniture and equipment account. It also keeps fixed assets, or you can still create a motor vehicle account for simplicity. But then I'm going to use the furniture and equipment account. So here we are having a description. Description is just, we are just trying to describe the item or the asset we bought. So we are having the side of new, and then we are having the side of used. So let's take it that we bought a motor vehicle when it's new. So here you just specify which exact motor vehicle that you bought. So let me say that maybe we bought a truck, and then here the date that we bought it, let me say 1st January. Then the cost. So the cost here, you write the cost including the taxes. So in case during the purchase of the truck, you are paying tax, so you also add that amount here. Then here we are having the vendor, the person from which we bought the motor vehicle from. Let me say we bought it from Spear Motors. So now here we're having the part of the asset information. So this is just an optional part. This here we are trying, you usually feel it when you try to keep track or to trace exactly where you got your item, like the location, the PO number, serial number. Then we're also having this side of the sales information. So for the sales information, we usually use it when we are disposing of the item or when we are selling it off. So after doing that, then you can just place your okay. And then you see that our track is being created. So in our theory, we saw that maybe in case if you want to edit or if you want to add in some item that you had skipped or a field that you had skipped, we just double tap on this item. It's going to take us back to this field. So after doing that, we also saw that to trace exactly in our reports, all the fixed assets that we are having in our business, we're going to come to our reports here. Then after reaching to our reports here, we are going to come and we look for our, we are going to come and we try to trace for our asset that we had created. So we are going to come to our reports here. Then we go to list here. Then we are going to see the field of fixed asset listing. So this is our report that is indicating the different fixed asset that we purchased in a business, the description, and the purchase dates. So that's all about an asset register. And maybe for the case of the purchase of a fixed asset, we can talk of maybe purchasing an item using cash and purchasing it using credit. Also, we can talk about the making a partial payment. For example, for a scenario, in case we are told that maybe a company went and bought, let me say, a motor vehicle worth 10 million and made maybe an upfront of 5M. So that's also can fall under fixed asset, but particularly here, we are simply looking at how you can enter a fixed asset in QuickBooks for the business. So that's my presentation for today.